Hello, everybody. Today, I want to talk to you about why adjusting to motherhood is really difficult for millennials. I myself, obviously, I'm a millennial, but I have been noticing this growing trend of issues that we all come up against, or most of us. So, I'm talking specifically about moms that choose to stay home. Obviously, my whole channel is about empowering moms to stay home. And so, excuse me, getting over a cold here. But I just feel so strongly that there are ways that we feel that are very negative, but it's not our fault. Like, it's not something that we are doing. Now, sure, there's little things that we do, little specific things that you do throughout the day, or your habits or your behaviors or your environment that you can manipulate to work for you, right? But there's also bigger things. Think society, think the institution of marriage and family, and how the expectations of those things have been taught to you, right? Because even though we have left our parents' homes and we have minds of our own, right? And we marry people that hopefully we agree with on a lot, if not all, of the values, right? There are still things that pop up from time to time that are deeply ingrained in our subconscious. And it actually makes me emotional because sometimes it can really feel like it's impossible, right? Because of these societal things, because of these things that have been passed down to us, and because of the way that society is structured. So like not just what we've been taught, but also the way that our society is set up. And what do I mean by that? Like, for instance, depending on where you live too, but the more modern our society becomes, the more masculine it becomes, because faster equals better, higher quantity equals better, right? There's all these things that like are very masculine, very chase those things, like go and secure those things, drive and like perseverance and like grit and like being on and being predictable and having good habits. Those are all very masculine things. Not that you can't see those in women, but like in our society, we're very focused on technological advancements and the economy. Let me know what you think about this. I really want to hear what you think about this, but this is something I feel really strongly about. In the last 20, maybe even 40 years-ish, right? Especially within the last 10 years. Our country and our world to some extent, but our country specifically has become very, very technology focused, industry focused, and economy driven, right? What does that mean? That means that our government wants all of us in the workforce because that's bringing in money. It's keeping our country strong in terms of financial power, right? And I'm sure there's a lot, any economics people chime in, I'm sure there's a lot of other things that are correlated with it. But I just want to show you how this works. Like, so where I live outside of DC a little bit. And over here, in great contrast to where I'm from, and I realize that there's a time gap too. There's like, not 20, like 15 years in between, right? But still, where I live, most women work, whether they have children or not. And less women are having children as well. Like, so some women choose not to have kids at all, or some, couples, whatever situation is, less women are choosing to have children, right? So what does that mean? That means there's less moms, right? And then most, like over half, I think that the national average was in the 70s, but is certainly over half by a large number. Over half women choose to work even when they have kids, right? Young kids, I mean, not like college age or high school age even, but young kids. And so what does that mean? That means that the need for services like babysitters, mother's helpers, even just more flexible schedules with different cleaning and cooking services and babysitters, nannies and stuff like that. All of that, the demand for that goes down. And so the people that would want to work in those fields are kind of deterred because it's not great benefits. It's not, it's a lot of times it's not full-time, especially if you're like me and you want some space from your kids, but not full-time space from your kids. Women are looking for full-time jobs with, competitive benefits and stuff. It's not, not that I wouldn't pay well, but I do pay well, but finding somebody to do things in a way that you want them done and in a helping way, like somebody to just like be outside with your kids or something. A few hours a week is really difficult. So like I said, the demand is low, the supply is low of nannies, babysitters, stuff like that. And those of them that there are want the highest pay, the highest benefits, the highest hours they can get, most of the time because they're making that their job. And so what this means is that the general social attitudes towards staying home as a mom are, it's seen as backwards. It's like, oh, now we're educating all our women and we're, the workforce is becoming more and more equitable every single day or whatever, right? You hear people talk about like, oh, back in the day, I wouldn't even be able to work and stuff like that. It's like, it's like social attitudes about staying home is that it's an old-fashioned thing. It's sort of something that's going out of style. It's trending towards no women that are staying home, and instead, people are they're choosing either not to be parents or they're outsourcing their parenting to daycare facilities and state schools. So this creates a situation in which the minority of women who choose to become mothers and stay home, right? They end up being isolated with fewer resources than ever before. Because like I said, the demand is so low that the supply becomes low and people search outside of that industry for different jobs, different ways to make money and stuff because, the hope, I guess, to secure a job like that is low. So lack of resources and being isolated, and then you see also like when you go out into society, attitudes towards children are becoming more negative. People are becoming more impatient with children and people that have children. People are starting to get used to functioning in society most of the time without children around, wherever that may be, the store, a restaurant, a department store, whatever. I was thinking like Home Depot or something, or like, the work building. I'm doing well with words here, huh? Whatever it is, people get used to not having kids around. And so this creates this sort of attitude towards families and mothers and children that is very negative. It's very impatient and it's very repellent. Like, I know that a lot of you have been in situations where people are dicks in public and you just can't help but feel that like, geez, I'm not like welcome here. Like they don't want us around. Like we need our own area where we can go into because people just aren't friendly to people that have kids and to kids. And that's not to say everybody, but I'm saying that this is the trend. It's going more and more in that direction. And the more urban and the more urban the area is that you live in, the more this is going to be true. And I wanted to contrast this a little bit with how I grew up. Now, mind you, cell phones became a thing when I was in middle school. So things were a little bit different back then too. And I also grew up in the Valley, in Treasure Valley, and Boise, Idaho area. There was somebody at my neighbor's house. I was like, who's that? In the Boise, Idaho area. Anyway, the cultural and like the demographics of that area is much different than where I live now. But I've recently been back, and things are modernizing there pretty quickly. And so I see this trend happening in multiple places, and it's very concerning for the future of families and the future of mothers as a very significant role, and also just towards children. Like it's really sad. But when I was growing up, it was in the 90s, and so it was pretty different. But we were outside most of the time playing in the road, or playing, in the creek or whatever, finding things to do, finding kids our age to go play with, playing with our siblings, just getting creative and just trying to hang out with our friends from school and stuff. Our moms were mostly home, and, willing to take the pay cut to be home, and they would get together and stuff, whatever. It just was super different. And I think that it's a very dangerous road that we're walking right now. I think it's really detrimental to families, and the, foundational unit of the global community of believers is the family. So that's one reason why I'm really stubborn and persistent in talking about this, even though, it might sound like I harp on about the same thing. Sometimes I'm not willing to accept the trend that our country and our society and our religious communities are going in, because it seems like a lot of people, even within the religious communities, not even talking about society at large, but the religious communities are choosing to not have kids, or to wait until they're 40 to have kids, or to have fewer kids, or not even to be married, like to just forego having a family altogether. And I know that there are lots of reasons around this that might seem very compelling, but I want to be the voice for us mothers that feel, called to prioritize our families. And I don't think that we should lay down and accept defeat. I think that we should keep taking our kids out in public and keep making it a place that is welcoming of children and accepting of children, which is so effing ridiculous, because children are simply humans in an early stage of development. It's like nobody has the patience anymore. And it's really creepy to think about, because everybody was once a child. So it leaves me speechless. But we should also be setting our expectations pretty damn high for how we expect to be treated in public, and how we expect people to treat our kids in public. Because here's another thing, and I'm not going to go on this tangent right now about the parenting style that I believe in, right? Because I definitely respect my children just as human beings. Like, I don't think that because they're younger that they deserve any less respect than anybody else. Going out into public and parenting the way that you believe is the right way, which for us here on my channel, I know that if you're a follower of my channel, that you also believe in being respectful and responsive and patient with your children, and keep on doing that in public. It does not matter how many people look at you sideways or get annoyed with you, whatever. They need to accept it, simply because it's the right thing to do. Treating kids with dignity, respect, it's just the right thing to do. So if it makes other people uncomfortable, tough shit. Like, that's well. And I know that, sort of getting a thick skin and not letting people affect your energy is a whole nother thing. And don't worry, I have other videos for that. But I just want to say, as a principle, that it's very important that we stand up to these trends, really, and some of these people that are perpetuating these trends and really fighting for them, and fighting to have like kid-free restaurants and stuff like that. It's trending in a bad way. It's not going to end well for anybody. So keep doing it. Keep doing everything you need to do to make motherhood sacred again, really. Yeah, I think I'm at the end of my tangent, so I'll see you in the next video.